Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is Brittany Brulette here, and I am back at you with another video. Of course, by the title of this video, you guys already know what's going on. I left for 9 months and came back with a whole human being. Today we're just gonna share my birth story. I'm gonna try to make this quick because nobody wants to sit for a 40-minute video, but we're gonna try. So where do I start? As you guys know, if you follow me on Instagram, if you're not, you should be. It was a really tough pregnancy this time around, which is why I didn't get to document the way that I wanted to or do a lot of the things that I wanted to. However, it was obviously worth it because I'm in love. So yeah, it was a really hard pregnancy, and I just could not, I could not wait to get to the end of it, and it felt like it was taking forever to get there. So right around 36 weeks, I had thought that I was going into labor, and if you don't know, my last pregnancy, I ended up having him at 37 weeks, just exact, I think, or it was like 36 and 6 days, something like that. So I thought I was going into labor, so we went to the hospital. Well, we prepared. We went to the hospital. I was contracting for like, I want to say 12 hours because we were there through the entire night, through the afternoon. It was annoying. 12 hours but no cervix dilations, and the contractions were intense. So like I literally left the hospital crying because I was still having contractions, and there was nothing that they can do for me because obviously I'm not in active labor, right? So ended up going back home. I didn't want to be there if I was in active labor either, but I ended up going back home, and a couple hours went by and it finally went away. So I guess they call that prodromal labor. I'll put it right here, but yeah, so pretty much that happened the week before he was actually born, and then fast forward a week later, I was completely over it because of what happened the week prior, of course, the whole pregnancy. So my sisters had came over, we were talking, I played with my nephew and everything like that, and then they left. And then I came into the room to talk to my husband, Jay, and I sat on our bed, like right here at the edge, and literally when I sat down, I felt, and I was like, can't be. So with none of my other pregnancies, I've ever experienced my water breaking, so I don't know what that feels like. You know, I just go into labor. So I feel like, and I'm like, nah, we ain't gonna play it no mind because of what just happened last week. I was already discouraged. I was like, I'm not gonna sweat it. So I told Jay, I was like, I just felt like a really big gush. And he was just like, what do you think? He's so nonchalant. And I was like, I don't know. So I tried to ignore it, but as I'm sitting there talking to him, I can feel like, are you okay? I can feel like the trickling of water. I could feel it was getting very TMI. It was getting very moist. It was getting very warm. It was getting very uncomfortable. And I'm like, this is not normal now. And you know, when you're pregnant, down there does a lot of different things. But this was doing something very, very different. Something very, very different. And I knew it wasn't right. Not right, but I knew it wasn't the same. And so I tried to be as calm as possible, and I let like an hour go by. I ended up calling my doctor. I told her all the symptoms. I ended up looking at it. It had a little bit of a color to it, but nothing like crazy or whatever. And she's like, it sounds like your water did break, so I would suggest you go to the hospital. Now at this point, I was 37 weeks and 5 days, and so I'll include the clip of after we decided that we're going to actually go to the hospital because I was in denial the entire time. Okay, this is impromptu. Today I am 37 weeks and
4 days.
I think my water just broke. Huh?
No,
I'm gonna come help you, Jay. I think my water just broke because when I sat down, I felt come out. And then I checked, and then it's like there, and then it's like TMI, you know. And I lost a big piece of my mucus plug last night, which Jay did not find interesting. And I feel like I've been prepping for this moment because I was like, I know he's gonna come early, or I'm supposed to tell the gender. I know he's gonna come sooner, or whatever the case is. But then I kind of got discouraged, so I stopped getting ready for stuff because I was like, I think getting ready is what's making me more like anxious. Yeah, I've seen that too, probably with your kids. So I stopped like doing stuff, and here we are now putting sheets back on the bed and cleaning and all that different stuff. And I'm having contractions and stuff like that. But I'm waiting for my sister to come get the kids, and she was just here. Literally, both my sisters just left like an hour ago, and this happens. So I'm waiting for her to come get the kids, and then I cooked dinner. I was cooking dinner early because I was like, okay, I got a little bit of energy, let me cook dinner. But now I packed it up so that the kids can take, and we're gonna pack some up and go to the hospital with it as well. Called my doctor. My doctor said, it sounds like your water is broken. And I'm just like, lady, if it's not, I'm gonna be so sad and devastated. But I am having contractions, and they are pretty like you gotta breathe through them or whatever. But we'll see. We will see. Now let me help my husband get these sheets on the bed because he doesn't know how to put a duvet cover on, y'all. Ooh, here we go. My mom texting me. Hello?
Hey, I'm outside. I'm trying to find the windows down.
Are you like are you gonna come to the 6th floor?
Oh, yeah, I can. It's open.
Come to the 6th floor.
Okay.
Alrighty. What?
Something. Moving forward, your main point of contact will be your recruiting coordinator.
So after we finally decide we're gonna go, I called my sister to come pick up the other kids because obviously they can't go to the hospital with me. And I was just taking my time. I don't know what it was, but I was not convinced that it was time. I was not convinced that I was in labor. I did not want to over excite myself because that's all I was ready for, was to have this baby and get back to who I was. So I did not want to overthink it or anything like that. So I was taking my time. I cooked dinner. I sent my kids to my mom's house with dinner. They wanted their favorite food, pasta, so I made pasta. We were packing last minute things. We were just chilling. We were getting laundry done last minute, cleaning up the room, just so when baby Carter came home, not a messy place. But I was just really chilling. So at this point, hours had went by of me chilling. So I want to say about maybe 3 hours, 4 hours of just chilling. My water being broken. Well, I didn't know it was broken at the time. Okay. But yeah, at the time, I didn't know it was broken and I wasn't convinced. So I was taking my time, and hours had went by. My sister came pick the kids up finally, and then we left probably like 45 minutes, an hour after she picked the kids up and everything, and we got to the hospital. When we got to the hospital, the waiting room was booked and busy, okay? All the mamas was there, okay? So we did have a little bit of a wait when we got there, but when the triage nurse came to, she was making sure she checked everybody, checked heartbeats for the baby, was making sure that everything was okay for everyone. They did a really good job, I will say that. When she came to me and we were going to look for a baby's heartbeat, she sat me in the chair and everything, and it was a struggle to find. You're looking for boobs. You just ate. There you go. It was a real struggle. Okay, you might have to go with your daddy, okay? It was a real struggle for her to find Carter's heartbeat, and it was like, I was like, okay, well, this had happened a couple times where it was hard for the nurses to find him because he was in such a weird position, kind of like entangled and stuff like that. But when she did actually find it, it was a little low, but she said it wasn't like concerning or anything, so we just, it was cool. And we went and sat back down. But then all of a sudden the process started to move quicker, and we went from waiting in this waiting room to all of a sudden there was somebody coming to get us and put me in a wheelchair and walk me to the room. Like, it was quick. So I'm like, okay, cool. Still taking my time, still not really thinking much of it. And then we get in the room. The nurse tells me to change out and everything like that. And when she leaves, Jay is like, oh, this is real. Like, you really about to give birth? And I was like, we don't know that yet. Like, I was not trying to hear it because I was just not trying to be discouraged. Sir. Shh. You don't know that yet? Please stop. I'm gonna be really disappointed if I'm not. So I go, I change and everything like that. The nurse comes back in, and of course they put those little monitors that wrap around your stomach. So one is to track the baby's heartbeat, one is to track your contractions and everything. At this point, I was feeling contractions. I did not say that. I was having timed contractions. They were very strong. They were intense. But like, you know, like I'm a pretty tough person, so I was eating them up pretty well. I was eating them up pretty well, okay? So I was kind of like just chilling. And she put the stuff on, and then she went to go check to see if my water actually did break. And so she did the little swab, if you know, you know. And as she was doing the swab, the baby monitor with the heartbeat and contractions and everything, his heartbeat just started to go wild. Like it was like dropped completely. Not completely, it was like 160 and it went to like 80. And then it dropped back up. It went back up. And so I could see there was a little bit of panic in her face. I didn't have that much panic because I thought it was because he was moving. Like I said, in the past, we've experienced that because soon they put those bands and things on, he doesn't like it, so he'll move and then it kind of loses the heartbeat. So I could see in her face, she kind of like went ghost, like white. And she hurried up and pressed the button like on the wall or on the bed or something, and she called more nurses in to help. And so they come in, they're like flipping me, turning me, trying to get me in the right position so that they can find the heartbeat again and everything like that, and nothing's working. All they keep seeing is a very, very low heart rate, which was, like I said, like 60, 80, and then it'll peak back up to like 120, and then it'll drop back down with every contraction. But at this time, I did not know that this was happening. And so I'm just laying there, and they're like, who's your doctor? And I tell them, and then they go to call the doctor. The girl came back in like 2 minutes, and she's like, Dr. So-and-so is on her way. She says she's putting her scrubs on. She'll be here in 10 minutes. Y'all, I kid you not, Dr. So-and-so came in like 3 minutes. It felt, everything was moving so quick, and I'm like, why is this moving so quick? I'm still thinking I'm going home after all of this. Like, and the original nurse that got me in the room, she was just like, you know, even if your water didn't break, I think that your baby just earned you a stay at the hospital. And I'm thinking, okay, y'all gonna try to induce me or something? Like, what's going on? Nobody was saying anything at the time, which I'm glad, because I think I would have panicked, which me panic and getting more anxious would have affected him more. So I think that's why they didn't say anything, and I'm grateful for that. But now I'm just laying in this bed. The doctor comes in 2 minutes later, and she's like, sweetheart, we're gonna have to take you to have a C-section. And I immediately like, what? Like, I'm like crying, and I'm like, what? And she's just like, your baby's not liking a contraction. She shows my husband on the screen. At this point, they had me turned over on my full side. I could not see anything on the screen because they were trying to find his heartbeat. So I wasn't even facing anything. They had me in a kind of awkward position because that was the best position that they were getting the best heart rate from. And I'm like, what? And she's like, your baby's not liking contraction. She shows my husband on the little thing. She says, this is a contraction. This is the baby's heartbeat. With every contraction she's having, it dips down. And I completely lost it because at that point, obviously, I had 2 vaginal births prior. And at that point, the C-section wasn't an issue. You know, obviously, I did not want that. But, like, it was more so like, oh my gosh, my baby could die. Like, if I'm being completely honest. And I was very anxious this time around about that, and I don't know why, but I instantly got just so scared and so nervous, and I just started crying. I was just boo-hoo crying, and I looked at my husband, and I'm just like, why is this happening? And she's just like, the doctor's like trying to calm me down. She was talking to me, and she was just like, you have to just, the nurses actually, the doctor wasn't too affectionate, but the nurses were really nice. And this doctor was not my original doctor, but my doctor wasn't on call. But the nurses were really nice, and they were like, you have to calm down as much as possible, you know, just to make sure that he stays okay. And at this point, his heart rate was still, you know, and what happened next? I was just like, okay, whatever we have to do, let's do it, you know? And so within a couple minutes, nurses were in there, anesthesiologist was in there, everybody was in there. Anesthesiologist, like my epidural, I've had epidural before, that thing had me out like a light. Like, I don't know if it's because the dosage is obviously a lot more intense because of it being a C-section. But hear me out. Like, they gave me the epidural, and they told me to lay down because my blood sugar was going to drop because everything's happening so fast. And so I lay down and I'm feeling like loopy, and then I look up and my leg is up in the air because they're shaving me for a C-section, and my leg is literally up like in the air right by me, and I didn't feel any of that. Like, everything just happened so quickly. It was crazy. But I get to the operating room. It was really scary at that point because I'm looking at my husband like, if something happens to me, I love you. But and then he's looking at me the same way because he was a little nervous. I think I could still see his face. It was kind of scary because I think that he was a little traumatized because birth was never like that for us. We never experienced birth like so quick and like in a rush, you know. But we were grateful, you know. So we get to the operating room. His perspective was, they brought me in there. They told us that they would call him in once they're prepped. They have everything prepped because obviously my husband wasn't going to want to see the cuts and stuff like that anyways. But I don't think you're even allowed to. So they told him to wait. To me, it felt like 10 minutes. To him, he said it was like, to me, it felt like 5 minutes. To him, he said it was like 20 minutes. And I felt like it was 5 minutes, but I was also halfway out of it. So 10 minutes later, or 15 minutes, like he would say, or 30 minutes, he would say, later, he comes in and he just sits by me and they're doing a thing. I didn't feel a thing, which was by the grace of God, because my sister had a C-section a few months ago. A friend of mine had a C-section a few months ago. Well, my sister in particular said that her C-section hurt, like she could still feel stuff. My friend said she did not feel anything, and by the grace of God, I did not feel anything, but I was so scared that I would feel something. But it went smooth. It felt quick. Like I can't say anything like less. Like, it just felt like everything was just so quick. But Jay just says it was like so drawn out. But he was also nervous. I don't know if that was why. But everything felt really, really quick. They got him out. I have a video. I made Jay record because I was like, no, I want this. I have a video of him actually coming out and me seeing him for the first time. I don't know if I'm going to include that in there because like his private parts was all out and stuff. Everything was great, and he was my biggest baby yet. He was 8 pounds 10 ounces. All of my others was in the 7-pound range. So he was a chunky one, and he was born at 37 weeks. So I would have assumed that if I went full term, like fully to the end, I probably would have had like a 10-pound baby, you know. So I'm grateful that he came when he came. My water did actually break. They ended up finding out that the umbilical cord was wrapped in or entangled, which was what was causing it. My other kids is yelling, so please give me grace. But which was causing the issue with the heart rate being so low and dropped so quickly. And yeah, that was that. But I've shared on I shared on Instagram that this has actually been the smoothest postpartum that I've had, you know, despite it being a C-section, because you always hear that C-sections, like, you know, it's a lot more daunting on moms and things like that. But I actually had a really good postpartum. Well, I'm having a really good postpartum compared to the other ones. I've only had like one breakdown, and that was because I was constipated. And I had never been constipated a day in my life. I kid you not. I've never been constipated. And so to experience like having to poop, but it won't come out, yeah, that was not fun. But other than that, I've been really enjoying myself. I feel like myself again. I feel really happy. I feel really like encouraged. I feel very like willing, like so ready to like get back into everything that I wanted to do before, but I couldn't do, you know, because I literally had to rest the entire pregnancy. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful for baby Carter. If you didn't know, if you still not following me on Instagram, you would know his name is Carter Supreme. And that was given to us, his name was given to us in a dream, well, given to me in a dream. And we loved it, so we kept it. But yeah, it's been great. And I couldn't ask for a better postpartum experience outside of the constipation. Okay, so I also asked y'all to ask questions regarding birth and postpartum, and I probably should have asked this yesterday, so it would give you the whole day to put questions in. So I only have a few right now, like less than 10. But you guys can follow me on Instagram and I answer whichever ones I don't include in the video on Instagram. But the first question that we have, I have a lot of questions on breastfeeding because I post on my Instagram my milk a lot. And it is things you did and tips to get breast milk supply up quick. So even with my other pregnancies, I always laugh because I remember with my first pregnancy, I was only 19 and I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how any of that worked. And I remember the first night back home from the hospital, I woke up in the middle of the night and the whole bed was soaked with milk. And I was just like, oh, I was crybaby. And I remember crying to Jay like, oh my God, it's leaking, it hurts, my boobs hurt, everything like that. And then we got on the pump, pumped out everything. So I would say even from the first pregnancy, I've never had a problem with milk supply. By the third day, my milk is in and it's on and popping, and it does what it's supposed to do. Like, I mean, it be milking. Now with first and second pregnancy, I did not go that long with breastfeeding because it's emotionally and mentally draining. I'm not gonna lie. Even right now doing it, it is a little draining. Like, okay, pump time, you know, all of that type of stuff. But this time around, I don't know, I feel a lot more happier and I don't have other things that I'm worrying about like I did then. So it's slightly, I find that it's slightly easier or whatever. So I only pumped for a certain amount of time and breastfed for a certain amount of time with them. But when it comes to milk supply, I never had to do anything like in particular to get my milk to come in so quickly or as much as it does, outside of like I drink things like body armors. Right here is my water. I got this not really aesthetically pleasing cup from the hospital that I delivered at, and I've been using this. I could order a cute one on Amazon, but I'm like, this one does the job pretty well, and it has a straw, and I drink like 4 of those a day. So I'm drinking lots of water. Breast milk is 90% water, so the biggest thing is staying hydrated and everything like that. So I drink about 3 to 4 of those a day, maybe even sometimes 5, because I just be feeling thirsty, okay? And I do eat oatmeal every couple of days. Like, I don't like having the same thing for breakfast, as well as, like I said, body armors. I make smoothies and I use coconut water with my smoothies, and coconut water helps a lot. The yogurt that I eat is coconut milk. Coconut milk also helps a lot. And I eat. That's the biggest thing. I think a lot of times women try to breastfeed and have a successful like pumping journey or breastfeeding journey, but they also want to lose weight, and I don't think that that's the right time to lose weight because you have to eat, you have to have calories to produce milk, obviously. So it's not the right time to try to like go on this fitness journey and starve yourself and things like that. So I do eat. I eat my 3 meals a day. I don't overeat, but I do eat my 3 meals a day. I'm lying. I eat like 2 meals a day, breakfast and dinner, and I snack the whole way through the day, like peanut butter crackers, granola bars, all of that good stuff. So nothing special for my milk supply. It's just how I am. That's it. And then I had another breastfeeding question that said, how many ounces do you pump a day? Right now I pump about 45 to 50 ounces, and he only drinks about, I want to say maybe, I don't know. I have to put it on the screen how much he drinks. But I pump around 45-ish ounces, and on a good day it's like 50 ounces or whatever. But he's only drinking 3-ounce bottles. So let's do the amounts. He drinks about 3-ounce bottles, and he has about 6 to 8 bottles a day. Do the math for me. I'll put it over here. And he does latch as well, so that's why the bottles kind of change too. The other question says, does it hurt like really bad giving birth? Contractions hurt. Obviously, like, they're very painful. I know, like, some people are like, I had a supernatural birth and I didn't feel a thing. Good for you. I wish that was my portion with the other pregnancies, and even this one. Contractions hurt. contractions hurt. I personally, I prayed every prayer. They hurt. Like, they hurt. But I just feel like it's a part of the process, and you forget about it. Even with my C-section, as I talk about this story, like, I forget about it. My other pregnancies, the pain is something that I still can't describe outside of, yeah, it hurt. I remember it hurting, but I can't tell you like what it exactly was. And I mean, that's scripture. Insert scripture here, because scripture tells us, like, after you give birth, the joy that you feel from the baby, makes you forget about the birth completely. And that's me paraphrasing, obviously, slanging it, but yeah, like, I can't remember it after it happens, but I do know that contractions does hurt. Pushing, getting the baby out, it hurts, but it's so temporary. The pain is so temporary. I would do it again. I know, crazy girl. Somebody said, how did you get through it more than one time? I have one kid, but the thought still scares me. So now when people used to say things like this when I just had my other two, I would be like, how did you not enjoy pregnancy? Like, how do you not enjoy raising your kids? How do you not enjoy being pregnant? And then I got pregnant with this one. He's currently sleeping. But then I got pregnant with this one, and I get it. If you did not have like a great pregnancy experience or postpartum experience, I can see why you question, why would somebody do this again? Like, that was me the entire pregnancy with this one. While I am so grateful for him, and I believe that he is heaven sent, and this is what he, like, just makes me feel a lot more like our family feels so complete, but it's not. But yeah, like, the entire pregnancy with him, I was like, I'm never doing this again. Like, that, this is it. I will never set myself up this way again. I'm done. We're done. 3, we didn't like odd numbers, but 3, that's it. We good, and then he got here, and now I'm like, I could do this again. I could do this again. Crazy girl, no. But I get why somebody would say that if it was really hard, and if postpartum is really hard and everything like that. But I don't know, I feel called to motherhood. I feel like I've always had the desire to be a mom since I was a kid. I always said I was gonna be a mom and a wife. I just feel called to it, and while it's really, really hard, a little draining most days, I enjoy it. I really do enjoy it. And so, I mean, at some point I gotta stop having kids, but yeah, I don't know, I enjoy it. I guess when you actually, like, I'm sure you enjoy it as well, whoever asked the question, but, like, I don't know, I feel like it's a part of my purpose. It makes me happy, so I enjoy it despite the struggles of it. But to each his own. If you don't want to have more kids, you really don't have to, okay? Listen, this time around, how long did it take for your milk to come in? Like I said, my milk typically comes in around the 3rd day or the 4th day. And this time around, I believe, like, my milk, like, fully came in the 3rd day. That night, that night I felt so engorged, and he was not eating enough. Like, he would just eat and then fall asleep, eat and fall asleep. And I told Jay, I was like, I gotta get this out of me. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was like, call a nurse in here, please. So we called the nurse in here, and I was just like, can I get a pump? And she was like, well, the lactation consultant is not here. So she gave me a bottle, a bunch of baby bottles, and I literally hand expressed the milk out because I was feeling that much pain. I was like, yeah, it's coming in or whatever, and I ended up giving him that milk or whatnot. But, like, I just never had to wait a really long time for the milk to really come in. And I know it's really different for everybody. I don't think there's anything you can do. Maybe you can try to pump, but I think the best thing the best thing that you can do is probably get your baby to latch, because there's no pump or suction as strong as a baby's jaw. Because when I tell you, when they latch, okay? When I tell you, when they ain't going nowhere. When I tell you, I don't think there's a better latch than a baby. So I feel like if you're trying to get your milk to come in, you're gonna have to do those cluster feeding. You're gonna have to go through the pain of, like, the nipple soreness and everything like that. But yeah, that's really it. That's all I ever did. I ain't have to do nothing special. But everybody's different, like I said, so don't take my advice. Somebody said, do you want more kids? When I was getting my epidural and I was having the pain and everything while they were doing epidural, because epidural is a little uncomfortable to get, I was laying like this and my husband was standing in front of me, and like my head was down, my eyes were closed, and when I opened my eyes and I looked at my husband, he was like, you don't ever have to do this again. And I was like, you ain't got to tell me twice. But then I had him. And like a couple days in, I told my husband, I said, I could do this again. And he just laughed. I was like, I could do this again. I think I could do this again. I don't know. Who knows? So we might want to have more kids. We might not. But as you can see, our kids are 3 years apart. So we got 3 years. Did you encapsulate your placenta? Personally, no, that's not my thing. I wanted to this time around because I've seen all the gurus on Instagram talking about how it's good for postpartum, and that was a big thing for me, postpartum and everything like that. And then I shared it with my brother-in-law when my sister was having her baby. He was like, do you not think that's cannibalism? And I was like, hold on, wait, you might be right. You might be right. So I looked it up, and I ended up coming across this Christian blog, and she talked about like placenta encapsulation and how it's cannibalism, and like some scripture to go along with it. And I'll try to link the site below, but like my eyes were open and I couldn't close them again. And so I couldn't get over the fact that a placenta is an organ. It's an organ that God created to only last for a certain amount of time. It's the only organ that you can literally have and then live without. You know, like, it's an organ. Why would I eat that? Why would I digest that in my body? Because the rules on Instagram said so. I don't know. We're not doing it, and I'm good. How has the transition been as a mom of 3? I guess 2 to 3. It has been good. I feel really good. Like I said, people would assume that, oh, you're overwhelmed and everything like that. My friend and my sister was laughing the other day because I came to her house and I was like fully made up and everything. It was my first time getting ready after postpartum. But they were like, how do you have makeup on? How's your hair done? And I don't know, I guess the third time around has been easier for me postpartum because I feel like I have an inkling of like what these things are going to look like. Obviously every baby is different because he is very different, but I think having my other 2 and watching them grow, my oldest is almost 7 years old and my middle is 3, almost 4 years old. Time has went so fast, and when I look at them, I'm like, how did you go from being a baby to now? Like, my oldest is like, we have conversations, like we have real conversations, like she's grown. And it hurts a little bit because I thought that they would be babies forever, and I also feel like I didn't get to cherish them being babies because I was so stressed with them being babies. And I was just like, I can't wait till you get older, I can't wait till they grow up, I can't wait. And now they're there and I'm like, I want y'all to be babies again. I don't want y'all to be older. I don't want y'all to be smarter. You know, like, I don't want y'all to be these big things that now I have to, like, I don't know. It's really, I cherish this newborn stage and this dependency a lot more than I did with the others. And so yes, he cries. Yes, he wakes us up. Yes, he cluster feeds. Yes, he blows out in his clothes. Yes, he whines a lot. Yes, he wakes me up in the middle of, well, I ain't got night duties, that's daddy's job. But yes, he, like, you know, yes, he is a baby, and yes, he is hard to work with sometimes, and it does get a little complicated and you are sleep deprived, but there's some sort of joy that I get from that now, that I know it's not going to last forever, that I know that come 6 months to a year, even 2 years, I will never get this baby back. I will never get to enjoy him in this stage and holding him in his neediness and all of that different stuff. I'll never get that. My 3-year-old has been potty trained for a year plus now. My 7-year-old has been potty trained obviously for years now. I will never get to like go back and re-experience that with them. Like, you know, that's just a memory now. So I try to enjoy every moment with these kids. So postpartum has been really great this time around because I have that mindset that this is a temporary stage and eventually we will not be here, and I'm gonna miss it. So yeah, as well as the hard part though for me has been trying to show attention to every kid in every way that they need it. Obviously with having a baby, my kids can't run and scream around the house like they used to, but they still want to. Okay, you probably hear them in the video right now. And that has been really hard because like we try to get the baby asleep, but they screaming and they jumping and they doing gymnastics, and my 3-year-old thinks he's Spider-Man. It's hard. That can be a little hard because we're like, shh, be quiet, like all day long. And I know my oldest even came to me and said like, I don't like that you keep telling us to be quiet, and I feel like you just keep telling us to be quiet so Carter can sleep, and it's not fair. And gets a little bit of hatred, not hatred, but haterade in there because she can't scream and be loud like she wants to. But like, that is where I think I'm finding the hardest balance, is making sure that every kid feels loved and every kid feels like they're getting attention and they're being nurtured the way that they want. But we only 3 weeks into this, babes. We're only 3 weeks into it, okay? So just give me some time. I'm gonna figure it out. I have been praying too that the Lord would give me more patience and more understanding on how to deal with that, because that's big for me. I want my kids to feel love. I want my kids to feel seen, and I want them to have a great childhood, you know? But that's all the questions I have for now. Let me check back, see if I got any new ones. Is dying, SD card is full, so that is the end of this video. I really hope you guys enjoy it. I try to make it really quick and simple, but it probably ain't quick and simple, and it's probably gonna be like a 30-minute video. But you guys, if you want to keep up with me, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Brittany Brulette, and we post daily motherhood, lifestyle, whatever I feel like posting content. And yeah, join the fam, join the clique. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and drop some video requests below. Yeah guys, God bless, and I pray that this video be a blessing to somebody, educational. I don't know what you're gonna receive, but like whatever it is, I hope it helps, you know. But that is the end of this video, so I will see you guys next time on the next video. Love you guys, bye.